All right, everybody, how you doing? This is Robert Rivera with Who's On First, and we have a special guest, Kent Walker. He is a umpire and an author of a book called Umpire Mentors book, Advice, Tips, Secrets, and Stories.
How you doing? Glad to be here.
So how long have you been umpiring?
I've been umpiring since I was 32, so that would be 32 years.
I know you did a 2002, you were a junior championship umpire.
It was it was World Junior.
World Junior, okay. And where was that at?
That was in Sherbrooke, Quebec, Canada.
Okay. You're an instructor in Canada for umpires, correct?
Yes. Everybody in Canada is conforms to the national program. So we have up to 5 levels that we have a curriculum to teach based on what level that we're teaching. The level 1s would be the beginning guys. The level 2s have a couple of years experience and so on. We teach in our provinces, and then as a supervisor, we get selected to go to national tournaments and supervise the umpires there and try and give them a few tips and help them improve.
I know in the book you had talked about goals, and your first goal should be getting to the game.
It's a very good goal because I'm trying to remember how many times I get to the park and I realize, for example, we're wearing black today, but I left my black home because I just did my laundry and all I've got is the blue, which leaves me enough time, and I'm in a fairly small community. It leaves me time to go home and get that. It's still time to be back. Or I cleaned out my gear so my shoes aren't there. It's happened several times. Lots of things like that. Lots of times you're working with a new partner, so you need to have a pre-game discussion, make sure you're both on the same page for things. So yeah, half an hour to an hour for sure.
And it'll help you avoid a lot of pitfalls. I remember sometimes I'd sit there and I'd, go in my pocket and be like, oh, I don't have an indicator. Wow.
Exactly. And I always tell the guys there's lots of things you can do that are beyond, that you can control. There's lots of things in a baseball game that you can't control.
Right.
Such as what the players are going to do, how they're going to react to a call and stuff. But there are things you can control, such as showing up on time and your appearance, things like that.
You got to forgive me. I'm having a little difficulty with my camera. Now, another thing is we talk about being confidence in a game.
The easiest way to have confidence is to have experience. How do you get experience? There's not just one answer. It takes a lot of work to get confidence. If you're just starting out, the best way is to be very prepared, so you know what you're getting into, and try and go over the game in your mind, what's going to happen. Again, things you can control. In the plate meeting what you're going to say and what they're going to say, what you're supposed to be doing, so you can go over that in your mind and prepare it, and so you can present it confidently. Right. Then during the game, you just act like you've been there. Even though you haven't been, you act like you've been there. If you're not sure of the call, you still have to make a call, because if you hesitate, then everybody knows you don't know the answer. So you just act like you know what it is and move on from there.
Yeah, sometimes you got to act as if, hey, listen, this is my call. Be confident, be firm with it. He is out, and that's going to be the end of this discussion.
We don't have an I don't know signal.
Right, we don't have it. Yeah, there's no mulligans. We don't do mulligans either.
And at our levels, most of our levels, we don't have instant replay either. So what we say goes, whether you like it or not. So try and get it right.
Right.
But if you don't know what it is, then you can't tell them that. I don't know what that was. It was too close. Doesn't work. So you have to have the confidence in your calls.
What about being overconfident?
I've worked with guys who are overconfident. They're not fun to work with. Yeah. I hope I'm not one of them, but you can't. They're usually the guys who need work, but they don't think they need any work. So it's hard to tell them anything after the game. If they walk off the field saying, boy, I did great, what room is there to tell them that, yeah, you missed quite a few there, or you didn't hustle here, or whatever the issue is? There's a lack of confidence, there's the right confidence, and then there's overconfidence. So sometimes it's up to the supervisor. If you've got an overconfident guy, it's up to the supervisor to give the bad news, the tough news, that you're not as great as you think you are. We need to work on some stuff.
Right. Another thing that came up in the book is recovering from a bad call. How do you recover from a bad call?
You move forward. Joe West said, what's the toughest call in baseball, Joe? And Joe said, your next one. Because if you're thinking about what happened before, you're going to screw something up right after that too. So you get lots of time to analyze it after the game. Move on after a call and just keep going. Your body language is going to give you away. If you think you missed a call, you're going to drop your shoulders or drop your head. So you have to be careful that you don't give things away like that. Like I said, we all screw up. We all mess up. We don't like it, but you have to move on from it or you're going to get even worse.
Looking forward to those hard assignments. You ever get guys that say, you know, these two teams, they're top-notch teams, and how would you suggest some guys deal with some of the anxiety before the day before that big game?
I wouldn't think about it that much the day before. An hour before, I'd start thinking, I make sure I'm prepared, sure. But focusing on the game, I wouldn't do it until an hour before. Then you start thinking about the game and what you're going to see out there. It was said by Billie Jean King, I think was the first one, that pressure is a privilege. So if you're in that game where it's a big game between two tough teams, you're there for a reason. You're there because whoever assigned you to that game believes you're the guy to be doing that game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what your mental approach should be. I'm the guy for this. I can do this. And what always motivated me was the challenge. I like doing the big games. I like trying to be perfect out there. It's never happened. But I'm my own worst critic, but I've always tried. The challenge is to hit every rotation, get every ball and strike right, get every call right, make your mechanics perfect. Never happens, but that's the challenge. And that's what I work for.
Yeah, as an umpire, you seek to do what those players always want. That pitcher always wants the perfect game. And as an umpire, you're striving for your perfect game.
Absolutely.
This year, we were lucky enough to witness one in the World Series, a perfect game. We had an umpire have a perfect game. It's something that we all look forward to. Kobe Bryant said it best. My goal is to be perfect, and just making that a goal of mine, I will beat 50% of my competition, not even in the game yet. We're not even at the game yet. So I will beat you 50% of those guys right off the bat. And you may achieve it, you may not. We were lucky enough to see one in the World Series. So let's move on. Reacting to a trouble situation. When those coaches and those managers come out and they want an explanation as to what happened and what's going on.
That's where you get to use your people skills. Years and years ago, before I even, I used to have a magazine I used to do called Hey Blue for umpires. And I went to, there was another World Junior Championship close to my area, a couple 100 miles away. So I went to it and I interviewed the supervisor. I'm getting around to your question this way. And I asked the supervisor back then, I was only umpiring for maybe 10 years by then. And I asked the supervisor, I said, you've got some of the best umpires in the world here. How do you choose who gets the gold medal plate? And I figured the answer is whoever's got the best balls and strikes, whoever doesn't miss a pitch, stuff like that. His answer was the guy who's the best at game management, who can see the trouble and head it off before it becomes trouble, who can deal with issues as they come up. So from then on, I always realized that there's more to baseball, more to umpiring than just calling balls and strikes, safes and outs. As you advance and you understand the rules and your positioning and timing and things like that, you realize that game management is one of the keys to the game. It's how you deal with people.
Yeah. So
when you've got that manager coming out or that coach or angry player or whatever, let them have their say. You don't know what the issue is until they tell you. I've had guys come out, there's been, say, a close play at third base, and the coach comes out and I go, oh, here we go. And he wants to know about a balk 2 pitches earlier. That's what he used his opportunity to come out with. So he wasn't going to scream about the play at third base. He realized he wasn't going to get anywhere with that. But if I didn't listen to him, I wouldn't know what he's talking about. So listen to them, let them have their say. Then you can explain, if they give you a chance, you can explain what you saw. Once you realize you got a difference of opinion, it's over pretty much. If he starts repeating himself, I say, okay, we're not getting anywhere here. We're going to have to disagree. Move on. You understand that they're upset and I don't blame them. I've played baseball. I've coached baseball. So I understand those things, but you let them, and sometimes you can say, if I had to do it over again, I might have a different look, or I would have liked to be a better angle or something like that. You don't admit that you made a mistake, but you listen to them and try and deal with the person.
Yeah, mine was I was honest. I was very honest with the with the manager, and me being honest with him kind of dumbfounded him. He had no idea what to say to me next. I was caught in between outfield and second base. The rotation never happened. I had to come charging back in. I was behind the plate going into second base. I called the runner out, and the manager came out. He goes, "What you got?" And I'm like, "Well, in my judgment, the ball beats your runner and your runner is out." And he's like, "Yeah, but you were in the wrong position." I said, "Yeah, but I gave you my best judgment." He goes, "What do you mean? Yeah." He goes, "No, no, no." He goes, "You were in the wrong spot. Ask for help." And I went to my partner. He says, I have nothing. I'm like, okay, well, he hung me out to dry, but I wasn't going to sell him out either. I come back. I said, well, he has the same thing. We're good. And he goes, "You were out of position." I said, "I understand that. I was out of position and I gave you my best judgment. But you did, you know what? That wasn't even your call anyway." And he turned around and he went to home plate. And I'm like, oh my God. It got worse.
What you said there does a lot to deflate an argument. If you say, in my judgment, from
Right.
where I was, what I
Yeah.
saw, things
That's
like
what I
that.
said. Right,
If
right.
if I say I see an out, then how can he argue with that? Well, he was safe. I see an out.
I see
You
now.
know, so
I see
we're
now.
going to disagree, but that's what I saw, so that's what I
That,
call.
right.
But if
All
you
right.
say that, forget who the umpire was now. It was about 5-6 years ago. Played umpire in the Nationals playoff game. The ball went through the catcher, but the batter swung and interfered with the catcher. The ball should have been dead, but the ball got through. The runner got to first base, and the big inning continued for the team that was playing the Nationals in the playoffs. If you look in the rule book, the ball should have been dead. The backswing of the batter hit the catcher, which should kill the play, but the ball got through the catcher's legs, went to the back, and he had a statement for the media after the game, and every fifth phrase out of his word was, "In my judgment. In my judgment, it did not interfere with the play. In my judgment, he would have reached first base. In my judgment, and it's hard to argue with that. He was very well prepped for that speech.
Right.
I'm sure. And just every third or fourth sentence out of him was started with "in my judgment." And it's hard to argue with that.
What is one of your greatest moments as an umpire?
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a call. It could be a situation, something that happened.
I guess I never thought about that. That's not fair. That's a long time. I did the gold medal plate in the national juniors about 6 years ago, though in a area fairly close to me. And the pitcher now, he's a Canadian, and your viewers will be able to help better on this. I'm terrible at names. He pitches for the Atlanta Braves now. He's a left-hander, but he's been hurt the last couple of years. He's a Canadian guy, pitches for the Braves, and the name escapes me. So the control he had, the dominance, it was really something to see. And I got to work the gold medal plate for that. So that was quite a big thing. Just being at the World Juniors in Sherbrooke and seeing teams from Taiwan and Cuba and the US and Canada, that was really impressive too. That was quite a big deal for me.
Wow. Okay. How about a situation that you would go back and change if you could tomorrow?
Oh, my biggest one was in a local league here. I find for a lot of these plays, you need like a perfect storm. You need 3 or 4 things to align for a major screw up. And this play happened. It was in the finals of our senior men's here. Runner on second, we're in a 3-umpire system. The third base umpire goes out on the fly ball, which leaves me responsible for third base and home plate, for the touch of third base and play at home. The ball should have been caught. There was a runner on second. The ball was not caught. So I go up the line 5 or 10 feet to make sure the runner from second touches third on his way home, which I do a million times. But for some reason on the way back, I did not go all the way to third base line extended. Either I didn't have the time, or I stopped and didn't think there was going to be play or whatever, which put me to make that call at first base line extended. And the way the runner slid in blocked my view. He slid in, it was a bang, bang play. What I didn't know was the catcher dropped the ball. I punched him out, called the out. After the rhubarb that followed, I conferred with my partners, but I didn't ask the third base umpire because he was out in left field. at the time. I didn't ask him what he saw. I just asked the first base umpire. He said he didn't see anything. He was watching something else. Turns out the third base umpire did see it, but I didn't ask him, so he didn't offer. So you've got all that combination of stuff. I realized I knew I'd made the wrong call, but I couldn't go back on it because I had no evidence to change it. The newspaper the next day had a series of 4 pictures showing the whole play with the ball on the ground. It was beautiful. Like they couldn't have staged it better. Fortunately, the team the call went against won the game anyway, so I got to survive.
Okay.
But things like that you'd love to have over and do over just in a slightly different way, get to the proper angle, ask everybody when you're having a consultation, things like that.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's something. Yeah, my moment. I have 2. The one that was a confusing play for me was we had bases loaded and no outs, and they hit a little blooper between the center fielder and the right fielder. And I see the right fielder coming. I see the second baseman backing up. I go up to the edge of the grass to see a catch, and all of a sudden the center fielder comes out of nowhere, slides, catches the ball, jumps up, and I scream, that's out. He throws to second base. I look at second base. The shortstop's there. The runner from second was halfway to third and started coming back. So I scream out. The second baseman looks me right in the face and then throws right at my head. I duck down, and the ball goes to home plate. I hear he's out, and I'm looking. Where am I going? Where do I go? What do I do? And my partner's looking at me, and everybody's walking off the field, and I'm going, what's going on? And my partner looks at me, he goes, triple play? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, wow. Really? It like dumbfounded me for a quick second, I would go back, I'd be a little bit more confident on that little triple play. But I got some curveball questions. Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. At a tie at first, who does it go to, the runner or the fielder?
There's no tie. There's no tie. We like outs.
Yeah, there you go. That's no ties. As my dad
according to
would
the
say,
rule anyway, if they're at the same time that he's out, he has to beat the throw.
All right, here we go with the camera again.
Yeah, we're doing good there for a while.
Yeah, we were. I'm gonna give him. My dad used to say, if you see a tie at first base, put it on a suit. Doesn't belong there. It was always a big joke. And I got one more curveball question, and then I'll let you go. I don't want to. This thing's gonna overheat on me. It's driving me nuts.
Can I say one? It's not really to promote the book; it's to clarify about the book.
Go ahead.
The book is Umpire Mentors: Advice, Tips, Secrets, and Stories from 100 of the best baseball umpire mentors in the world. One of the key factors for me is it's not written by me. It's written by 100 top umpires from all over the world. I've got major league umpires, minor league umpires, Olympic umpires, little league umpires, female umpires, the whole gamut. Because who am I to write the answers to all these questions and stuff? It's from these umpires, these guys with world experience, with top level experience. So that's what I wanted to make sure that people understand about it. It's top advice from all these experts in the field.
Yeah. And I want everybody to know, listen, guys, we're not criticizing umpires here. If anything, we're trying to help. You have to understand that umpires are always held to a higher standard. And if you're an umpire, you're constantly looking for education. This is something that Ken has put together and is valuable information. If you want to buy the book, you buy the book. And if you don't want to buy the book, that's fine. But it's continuing education for you guys. All right? No, we need to buy that book. An umpire starting out with the violence that these managers and coaches have come up with. Have you come up against this stuff?
Yes, we have. Our kids haven't as much. There's disagreements, quite serious disagreements at all levels here, same as anywhere else. But we haven't had any real explosions at where the young kids are umpiring the games that I can think of. There's still some, and it's the coaches and the fans that escalate it usually. Yeah. If you're going to ask what advice do you have for a young umpire, is control the things you can control. You can learn the rules, you can learn your positioning, you can take clinics, you can read a book, you can dress properly, you can show up on time, you can hustle. All those things are things you can control. All you got to can do when you go out there is do your best. But if you're prepared, then you're going to do better than a lot of guys. Go out there and be prepared, and good God, have fun.
Yeah.
You can't have fun out there. It's going to be a long day.
That was one of the things that led to my exit from umpiring. It wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. I was dreading going to the field. I was dreading having to do schedules. It wasn't fun anymore. And I promised my wife, the moment it's not fun anymore, I'm not doing it anymore. I still love it. I still see umpires. And you know what? It's even better for me now, because before it's just straight focused on the umpires. What are they doing? What's going on? And I would miss the game. And I don't know. I tell people all the time, there's not just two teams on the field. There's always three.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're up in Canada. What's the weather up there?
The weather up there is about, in Fahrenheit, it's probably about minus 20.
Woo,
Oh,
nice.
sorry, 20. Sorry, 20.
20,
Not minus 20.
degrees. 20
No,
degrees.
20.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, it's not warm, and it's only November. It's gonna get twice as cold.
That's all right. I'm in sunny Florida. Today our high was about 73. Our low would probably be about 60. And people walking around with jackets around here. So it gets chilly. It gets chilly. All right, Ken. Well, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. We have the book, Umpire Mentor book. It's a nice thick read there. And to give you something definitely to do. Pick it up. They have it on Amazon, correct?
Amazon and Barnes and Noble, yeah.
All right,
Ebook
guys.
and paperback.
There you go. Pick that up. Do yourself a favor. Some good information for you. And as we always say here on Who's on First, keep swinging.
If you like the show, please do me a favor. Subscribe. Right? You see it? It's right there. Subscribe, share, like, and don't forget, put that bell on. It'll ding you when I put something else on, all right?